Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. All glory, all praise, and all thanks belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In my last session, I introduced a new series of talk on motivation in parental care, meaning prompting the parents to exercise appropriate care in bringing up their children. And the message in the talk to the parents was, give your child an age in life, meaning get the child to develop characteristic and attune to an attitude of mind so as the child should be in a position to have greater advantage over other children as individually when they are adult, to come out well in the competition and the struggle in life of this world. I also introduced my book of 30 chapters on the parents having to apply psychological elements in bringing up their children so that the children get well equipped for the struggle and the competition in life when the struggle and competition gets sharper with the passage of each generation in this world. All this at no cost at all. And therefore, any parents who fail to do so is doing injustice to his children, despite the obligation rested on them to be truly loving to them with foresight. I intend in this talk to discuss 2 chapters from my book, Child Psychology, out of 30 chapters. And the first chapter, the very first chapter in the book, which I would like to discuss in this talk, is teach your child to think. Now we may wonder, why should it be necessary for a child to be told to think when thinking is natural? But no, thinking and thinking has differences. There are people who think, but with no thought process. Their thinking is narrow and shallow, with no wide picture. Thinking must always, for a human being to show his dignity as a human being, it must involve pondering, reflecting, contemplating, to call it a real thinking. Now, the best way to teach the child to think is very simple. Just let him think. Whereas what happens is the parents keep on thinking for them and do things for them according to their own thought process, never allowing the child himself to participate or get involved in the thought processing. I'll give you the example. The children must be given a choice between A and B, between C and D, even though both may be equal, because the choice that they will have will make them think. Now, when I say about the child, I mean of both gender, girl and boys. And teaching the child to think and giving them the choice to choose must start at a very young age. So the question, what is young? When a child is able to say what his name is when asked to give his name, is the age at which he is ready now to be taught how to think. So now the real thinking starts with the children when it is imposed upon them to choose one out of 2. For example, to ask them to choose whether now or later, to choose this one or that one, because this world is of moments of choices. Let me give you some example. What we do is that a child who goes to the school, nursery school, he can take care of himself while he is away from home in the care of the teacher. And yet, in the morning, it is the mother who decides what dress he should put on, not giving him the chance, not giving him the opportunity to make a choice whether this dress or the other dress, when both can be equal. And if he chooses one, compliment, because anyway both are equal. In the matter of dishes, there can be on the table a variety of dishes of food, and the child can make a choice. The child has his own taste, and yet it is the parents who makes a decision, serve him and make him take it. Why should that be necessary? The best example that I can consider of giving a child to make a choice with a perspective for the parents to find out more about the child's brainwave is to give to the child a few books, children books with pictures. He would like them because they are children books, 3, 4, 5. Ask him which one he likes best. Give him even a day. Let him play with those books. The time comes, he says, this is the one that I like. Now that is the time he should never be told that that was the least attractive. No, because every child, every person has his own taste. It is said that beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. But that's why that child chose that particular book, having what pictures inside can give the parents an insight about the brainwave of the child. Just simple. The most opportune moment to impose upon the child to do the thinking and begin the thought process when or if he gets hurt. It could be a skin scratch, it could be a pin prick with slight blood oozing, and the child gets worried. Now that is the time for the parents to ask him, what happened? How happened? Why happened? The child will have a story, whatever the story. Now ask, what is next? The child may say, medicine. Ask, what medicine? This is the way to prompt the child to have the thought process continuous for every issue. And with that, whenever then the child makes a decision, makes a choice, it will be with a wide picture in the background. However, I have to give some sort of warning. The parents, however may find the child is affectionate, must never concede to his choice or accede to his request if they are not sound, only because of indulgence. The worst thing is to give in, even knowing that what the child wants is not safe and sound. But the indulgence, the latitude to be less strict is the worst thing that parents could do to the child. And there is another thing. Overprotection is also very bad. You will find the parents refusing the child to go down into the yard and play with other children when all other children are enjoying with their noise heard all around, simply because the parents do not want him to be out of sight. We call it overprotection. That shouldn't be that. But you do need overprotection if you do not prepare your child mentally. The way I say, he should be prepared. Now the question then, with all this done, with no extra cost, what is achieved? The child will grow up making decisions, making choices with wider picture in the background. He will make less and less repetitions of earlier mistakes. More importantly, he will retain the independence of his critical thinking and reasoning which even the parents may have missed this attribute. He will feel then, as a process, in combination of all that I've said, he will feel more confident. He will have self-confidence mounting with personality shining. Now, let me draw a small span of a picture. It has a message. There is a group of 4 girl students returning from the school, heading towards their home. Apparently, all 4 are living in the same neighborhood. As they walk at a normal pace, they are also talking like they do normally. They seem to be talking passionately, as if there is a debate over something. As they walk, they talk. As they talk, they walk. But then comes a time, suddenly one of them would stop and speak her piece to the others. And when she stops, all others stop. Having said her piece, she proceeds to walk on and the others follow. But the talking continues. And again, there comes a time when that very girl, the same girl, stops and all others stop. And he seems to be wanting to say something in disagreement, but then changes her mind and turns and starts walking, and the others follow, still talking. What is so remarkable about this? Nothing is remarkable. These are common sins, but not as common as one who is observant would find otherwise. The one who kept stopping, others follow, and then he kept walking and the others follow, was the youngest of the 4. It was obvious that she was in a lower grade. This shows that this young girl had a commanding personality which affected the personality of the others. Where did she must have got that personality? Not in the school, because all the 4 girls were studying in the same school. It seems it was from the parents of that young girl. You can imagine what difference it makes. Although that girl, when she stopped and then moved on, it was all subconsciously, but the mind was attuned to doing what was right. And what I say is that these things are so simple for the parents who are so close to the children to find out and make them ponder, contemplate, and reflect whether they are getting the child with an age in life or not. For more, you can read my book. I'm picking only on 1 chapter at the moment, but the book has 30 chapters. You can imagine. Now another subject, another chapter, which is very important. Treat the child as an adult, always. Always. Whatever the age. Your child mind is observant, and he will begin to act also as an adult in behavior. It's catching up. The most opportune moment to treat the child as an adult and make him feel that he is being so treated as an adult is during the family meal or when there are guests around for meal. The child, if age permits, should not be given crockeries, plates, spoon, or sitting position which is different from others who are adult, if age permits. And then the child should be let to serve himself like all other adults do at the table. He would choose what dish to start with, and he knows that he's allowed to do that. So he would continue to do that, act as adult. Now, if he has this feeling that he's being treated as adult, his behavior will try to rise, to improve, to be like that of an adult. Let me give you another example. Some people have very good habit of reciting Surah Al-Hamd or a small dua before starting the meal. And normally, it is the adult, one of the adults who does this, takes up this tradition. Even though there may be a child who is already going to madrasa and knows the small surah or the small dua, to make him feel that he is treated like an adult is to make him also recite. What's wrong in it? And the worst thing that we do, which we should not do as parents, the child never enjoys sitting with the adults and elders at the table, at the meal table, because he's shut off. Only the elders keep on speaking, talking, and all that they talk is of no interest to him. So eating to him is a drab, D-R-A-B, drab. Doesn't enjoy. To make him now enjoy having meals together with adult is to treat him as an adult, and at the same time, the parents or the elder brothers should find an opportunity to get him engaged into conversation. Just simple. What was the report of today's school? Talk about the sports. Talk about the sports he takes interest in. Get him to break the ice. Keeps on breaking the ice as a tradition. That's all. I have seen something terrible because I'm observant. And that's the reason I wrote this book some 20 years ago. And with 30 chapters. I was invited with my wife by a family in some other countries. Right. Nothing unusual. Common. As we gathered at the table, so the parents now call other children, the elder children, two were married. We guests were introduced to their children, barring exception a small child who was there. I think he was about 7 or 8 years because he was a child, but a human being. He should have also been introduced like anybody else. But we underrate the fellow human being, whereas he is a human being, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا, whose nafs has been perfected by Allah, no matter what is his age. I think that is a time for the third chapter. It is chapter 27 of the book. Allow the child his moments of privacy, from the word private. If he is of such an age as to have or deserve a separate room, though a child, the parents must never barge into his room suddenly without knocking at the door, because he is being treated like an adult. Even if the door is ajar, half closed, just knock and then get in, even though the parents may be paying the rent of the room. That's what? It's your child. And another thing, the parents must never snoop, go through his correspondence and his private papers when he is not around, unless there is a strong reason. If so, it's very rare. It is believed. In fact, there is a law in many countries, I suppose. Intrusion into the privacy of anybody is abuse of his right of privacy. Our children, whatever the age, are no exception. Human being has the instinct of wanting his behavior, his actions to be kept private, and Allah promises Satarul Uyub. Now intrusion into the privacy of others, I don't say that because the child is trying to hide. No, it just has become a habit of the parents to go and snoop through the private papers and the correspondence of the child. No, take his permission. And therefore, always be frank with the children. Always be frank with your child. Whatever you have in the back of your mind as parents, be frank with him, and he will be frank. Inshallah, in the next talk, we shall see if there are other chapters that we can discuss. Wassalamu ala man ittaba'al huda.